Helldivers 2 has finally reached its second anniversary, so now I present to you the second year of the Helldivers lore, narrated in an overdramatic and extremely patriotic fashion. Beginning in February of 2185, we saw the first movement of the Meridian Singularity, or Black Hole. This is a tragic event for many Helldivers, as it resulted in the unfortunate destruction of Angel's Venture, a beloved planet where many Helldivers saw their first action, and unfortunately many Helldivers saw their last. The front lines did not relent for the Helldivers, as the new Gloom introduction of the Predator strain put even more stress on the bug front. Luckily, the bug divers managed to push them back and off of Fenrir 3. This successful major order led to a breakthrough discovery of new E710 sources in the Gloom-mutated terminid carcasses found on Fenrir 3. Perhaps the scientists would be able to use this to further understand dark energy, and then maybe, one day, understand how the squids were able to move the Meridian Singularity. The Helldivers ventured further into the Gloom, completing their first mission on Fori Prime to kill 1 billion terminids. The Predator strain fought well to try and defend the planet, but in the end, the Helldivers managed to conquer it for the good of mankind. Beginning March now, the Helldivers are presented with a dilemma: hold Clarel against the automaton assault for the deep mantle forge complex located on its surface, or defend against 8 invasions from the Illuminate to halt the Meridian Singularity from consuming Morodesh. The Helldivers decided to repel the attack on Clarel. While this victory repelled the Jet Brigade from Clarel, it wasn't without a heavy toll. The Meridian wormhole moved towards Morodesh, and eventually claimed it, another planet of the Federation lost. With a scientific breakthrough from scientists working with E710, Operation Black Hole Sun was founded for the Helldivers, where the Penrose energy siphon would be created to slow the advance of the Meridian Singularity. The energy siphon was constructed successfully, but still needed large amounts of element 710 to launch. Meanwhile, the automaton scum launched a new attack, with a sub-faction known as the Incineration Corps. These horrifying new bots used flame weapons to disintegrate the Helldivers where they very stood. Tragically, the next major order was a failure. The Helldivers didn't come together to complete one singular mission against either the automatons or the terminids, and the Incineration Corps took vast amounts of ground from the Federation of Super-Earth. Luckily, soon after this, the Penrose energy siphon was finally launched, slowing down the Meridian Singularity enough to not go on path to Super-Earth. This was a great win for the Helldivers, as it meant their beloved home planet was no longer under immediate threat. Luckily, the next major order was also met with great success, authorizing fleet-wide requisition of the EGL-21 Grenadier Battlement. Not such a popular stratagem, but certainly a good one. While the Meridian Singularity took another planet, Ivis, the Helldivers fought an even greater battle, successfully protecting Malevolon Creek. Soon after this, the Helldivers made the choice to liberate Wezen, securing the benefit of the DSS, reducing the cooldown of all exosuit stratagems by 35%. The Helldivers marched once again into the Gloom with the mission of liberating Nivell 43 to secure advancements that could stop the Meridian Singularity once and for all. This was successful, allowing the construction of the repulsive gravity field generator, halting the advance of the terrifying Illuminate threat. The Terminids did not, however, take kindly to this attack, as they soon launched 9 new attacks on the planets of the Federation. The Helldivers successfully pushed back this assault, even with the presence of the Predator strain. The Helldivers continued to defend against the Illuminate threat, successfully beating the 5 attacks sent and killing 1 billion voteless to secure the major order. The Helldivers were then tasked to complete 625,000 medium or higher operations against the Illuminate and liberate Turing to activate the repulsive gravity field generator on Pylon 5 and finally stop the Meridian Singularity. However, tragically, this major order fell just short, at 95.5% of the necessary missions, and Turing remaining unliberated. Unfortunately, despite the tireless actions of the Helldivers, the next major order was also a failure, losing the Deep Mantle Forge complex on Clarel to the automatons, even holding the 4 other planets. Unfortunately, the bad luck for the Helldivers did not end here. The next major order to liberate more planets than are lost during the duration was failed at hitting net zero. Soon after this failure, the Helldivers would be presented with one of their greatest threats yet, the Illuminate Great Host appearing out of the Meridian Singularity. The Helldivers were given a major order to slow the advance of the Illuminate on Widow's Harbor, Pelan 5, and New Haven. This was successful, however the planets were still lost. This was it, the moment of reckoning, the time every Helldiver had waited for. The Battle of Super-Earth had begun. The foul Illuminate advanced upon the planet's surface, bombarding it, increasing our stratagem cooldown times as we could not get destroyers close enough, and launching attacks on the first megacity, Eagleopolis. The Helldivers fought valiantly, but it was not enough. Eagleopolis was lost, and then Administrative Center O2. Then Remembrance. What more would be lost to the Illuminate Scourge? In response to this, Super Defense Protocol Sapphire was activated, converting rainforests into emergency Eagle airstrips, providing faster cooldowns on all air support. But it wasn't enough. Only the 4 megacities remained. What would the Helldivers do? Tragically, the Democracy space station sustained heavy damage, meaning the Helldivers would have to gain resources from the automatons to repair it. This was almost an impossible task, needing to dismantle 200 million automatons, while also defending Super-Earth. More and more megacities fell to the Illuminate, Port Mercy, and York Supreme, leaving only 2 cities, Equality on Sea, and the very heart of democracy itself, Prosperity City. Only 11.6% of the original Illuminate fleet remained. The final push was due. In aid of this defense, Super-Earth authorized protocols Diamond and Ruby, giving all Helldivers the fast reconnaissance vehicle and the orbital napalm barrage. This was it, the final stand of Super-Earth. 2 days to survive, 2 cities must stand. If both fell, it would be over. But if only one remained standing, democracy would have been victorious once more. The fate of Super-Earth was in the hands of the Helldivers. At last, on the 11th day of battle, the sun rose once more on Super-Earth. Prosperity City stood mighty among the wreckage, and a surprise to the Helldivers, Equality on Sea, the second super-city that remained, was still standing. It had held since the very first hours of the battle. Those 2 cities stood proudly, and so did the Helldivers, for they had defended their home, their capital. They had defended Super-Earth. In the next week, the Helldivers' spirits were high as they defended against more attacks from the Automaton Scourge, successfully completing Operation Steel Quarry. Perhaps this was the comeback that Super-Earth had been waiting for. The Illuminate and the Terminids kept attacking, major orders were succeeded, and some were failed. And then Operation Debt Collector was begun, the monumental effort to rebuild Super-Earth. This operation was a success once more. Super-Earth would be rebuilt to an even greater figure of glory than it once was. The Helldivers knew that it was time for a new age of democracy. The Helldivers kept fighting, but nothing would compare to the glory that had come just before, defending Super-Earth. Not even Operation Gloompiercer. Against all odds, the Helldivers stood strong against the Gloom strain, holding Turing and Acona Secundus, and extracting enough samples from the Jinshi sector. This was another success for Super-Earth, and another blow dealt to the Gloom. Liberating the galaxy continued somewhat as normal until September struck. This brought with it Operation Rock and Stone, a new major order to extract samples from the hive world of Osha Une. With their spirits high and their weapons higher, the Helldivers advanced upon the gloom-infested planet. However, They did not expect what awaited them. They were not ready for the menace that lay awaiting on these worlds. Many even described it as worse than the original battle of Malevelon Creek. The new Rupture strain proved a terrifying challenge to the Helldivers, along with the Dragon Roaches, and worst of all, the Hive Lords. Helldivers were unable to extract the required amount of samples, and had to back off from the assault on the Hive world, returning another day to maybe, finally, infiltrate the gloom once and for all. New major orders were put in place on the Automaton and Illuminate fronts, to gain the resources required to armor the heat shield of the DSS so that it could travel into the gloom to support the attack on Osha-Une. In the midst of all this chaos and all the battle preparations, there was a glimmer of hope for the Helldivers. Liberty Day came once again. This brought a new major order to kill 40 million enemies using the Constitution Service Rifle, which was succeeded by the Helldivers, earning them this year's Liberty Day cape. Soon after this, though, the Helldivers had to return to the battle with the final assault on the Hive world Osha-Une, putting everything they had at the planet with their newly found knowledge of the Rupture strain. They finally succeeded, liberating the planet of its Terminid oppressors and finally securing the first planet of the gloom for the Super-Earth Federation. The Helldivers had no time to stop and celebrate, however, as the Terminids tried desperately to take back their Hive world. The Helldivers fought tooth and nail to retain the hold on Hellmire so that we may still have the connection through to the Hive world and its source of element 711. This was another success, and Osha-Une remained in the hands of Super-Earth. Fighting through the new dissident threat, Helldivers discovered 3 new planets on the Automaton front, the magma planets of Fury, K, and Mox. Tragically, the Helldivers failed to liberate these planets, and the Automatons retained their grasp on their factories. As the year of 2185 ended, there was a new piece of technology being implemented by Super-Earth, the Star of Peace, the ultimate upgrade to the Democracy Space Station, a super laser able to destroy entire planets. This, if it was constructed, could be the single weapon the Helldivers needed to eliminate the threats from the galaxy once and for all. However, of course, superweapons like this cannot just be fueled by nothing. They need power, in this case, element 711. The Helldivers were tasked to extract this valuable resource from Omicron, another bug hive world. However, this major order failed, leaving an unfortunate start to 2186. Eventually, though, the Star of Peace was constructed and fueled, and the Helldivers were given the choice to vote on which planet it would destroy, with the 3 planets being Penta, Valmox, or Zagon Prime. There was an almost unanimous vote to eradicate Penta off the face of the Automaton front. Penta was now officially Pentagon, but the Star of Peace was not out of the picture. The blueprints to this superweapon were stolen by an enemy of democracy. The Helldivers had to find out who, but with a failed investigation, we remained oblivious to which faction contained the plans to the very destruction of Super-Earth. After an ongoing effort to trace the path of the stolen blueprints to the Star of Peace, Super-Earth declared that it was in fact the Automatons that stole them, and they were planning to create the superweapon and destroy Super-Earth once and for all. This was an emergency for the Helldivers. They had to strike back and strike fast. It was now, with Operation Valid Pretext in the beginning of February, that they must march to Cyberstan. Super-Earth assigned a budget of 200 million Helldivers to complete this operation, which would be distributed across the entire galaxy. This meant if any single diver died on the bug front or the squid front, it would take away from the advancement to the home of the Automaton scum. This attack wasn't without fault, however, as the Automatons managed to hack into the mainframe of Super-Earth, distributing a major order of great treasonous intent to the Helldivers. However, unlike the Automatons, the Helldivers remained loyal till the very end. Not a single one defected. We marched on towards Cyberstan, taking planet after planet, repelling everything the Automatons threw at us, and as February 8 reached, the 2nd anniversary of Helldivers, We were just a mere glimpse away from the center of the Automaton Legion itself. Cyberstan was about to fall.